David, then.
Yeah. Is your argument or your view that there is a self-conscious ruling class in some monolithic sense that is self-consciously producing the social democrat ideology that permeates everything? Or is your argument that there isn't in fact any self-conscious ruling class, there is just a parasitic class which is divided up into millions and millions of little bits, and it's not self-consciously a ruling class, it's just that all those little bits tend to encourage and to approve of any idea that happens to emerge that's an argument for more state activity, because it seems like a good thing to them, because after all, broadly speaking, they will tend to benefit. I'm just trying to get a sense of where you stand on this, because I don't know what Marx had in mind when he thought of the ruling class and their production of ideology. But what's your view?
Well,
how does it fit in with your diagnosis of libertarian strategy?
As I said when I quoted Khrushchev's example at Harvard, I don't think that there is certainly a class consciousness. In other words, you have people who are state employees who have very much the awareness of their identity. They are proud to be civil servants, they are proud not to be part of the market, they are proud not to be greedy capitalists and so on. And this is even more so in countries like France or Italy, where you join the civil service for life. Here you may, in America you may move from being a lawyer in private practice, and then you move to government, and then you go back to private practice. In France that virtually doesn't happen. If you join the civil service, it's for life, and you are guaranteed life employment. But they have they all have very much a class consciousness. Do they produce an ideology with the intent purpose of maintaining their sort of power over the rest of the country? Let's write a good book that says civil service is absolutely necessary. I don't think it is as blatant as that. I think they believe in what they do. And because they believe in what they do, they say, we need the state. Otherwise I wouldn't be a civil servant. We need the state, and the state is necessary in order to, in shares and pensions and roads and police and so on. And this is what, you do when you are a lawyer, an artist and so on. You believe in what you do. So they tell you that the state is wonderful. Like a teacher would tell you, teaching is a wonderful profession. I wouldn't be a teacher. So, but what they are giving you as a discourse, it is thanks to us that you have all these goodies, becomes more and more difficult to believe. A, because the goodies are not delivered, or because you realize that there would be other means, non-state means of delivering the goodies that would be just as efficient and less costly, or both.
Two things. The first thing, you describe the reason why states are bankrupt. I say, well, in 1989, capitalists decide that there's no more socialism, therefore they can move their factory to Malaysia. Do you really think they would have done differently if they hadn't been 1989? That is probably more a question of the economical condition and technological conditions of the time today, rather than the fact that there's no socialism. The second thing is about the ruling class. There's a difference between I would say, people who live off the state without being civil servants and the civil servants. Because the civil servant, not only they live off the state, but they impose their ideology to everybody else. They are the one who teach kids. They are the one who decide which treatment you're entitled to in the hospital. They are the ones who decide which kid is going to be adopted. They are deciding on every single part of the society who is entitled to what and what are the values that we should be living. And I think in that respect, they are much more of a ruling class than the people, the unemployed, for example.
I think you're right. On the second point, I think that what is happening is as more and more of the big decisions, unemployment, geopolitics, things like that, evade leaders, political leaders and so on. They realize that the only way they can attach, their name or their, justify what they are doing and so on, is micromanaging our daily life. I mean, you can no longer decide that, we will launch an expedition to, this part of the world, or do this, or change, the way, country is run, becoming a social state, or, it's social democracy everywhere. So you cannot launch, you cannot embark in a grand project. So, as Gladstone, would have done, or Churchill, or all these sort of leaders of yesteryears. But what you do is you decide that you cannot paint your shutters in a different color than blue. You cannot. You have to have that type of central heating, and you have to have milk at school or no milk at school. Micromanaging is the only thing that is left to governments today in order to justify their existence. And and therefore they do it more and more. Now, on the first question, I think that, yes, there was certainly a huge, a panic, a panic in the sense of constant panic, a constant fear of Western democracies in the face of the Soviet Union and the socialist revolution. Socialist revolution was not so much in the United States or in this country, but it was certainly very present. When I was young and so on, the Communist Party in France was the largest party in the 40s. 25% of the electorate was, voted Communist Party, Stalinist Party and so on. In Italy, in Spain and so on, you had a constant threat of the communists overtaking the country, the socialists overtaking the country. And to virtually everybody, a lot of business people like I used to know and so on, said, if I don't pay taxes, who will? And if we don't pay taxes collectively, these people will simply overthrow us. So there was that fear. And in the United States and in this country, there was a very precise awareness that the Soviet Union was a superpower. It was, the threat was inflated, but it was real. The Soviet Union had nukes, they had submarines, they had, weaponry.
Sputnik?
And Sputniks, they had all these sort of things. So you had to finance a war effort, a Cold War effort, in order to keep that threat at bay. So rich people said, yeah, we understand. We have to pay taxes. Suddenly the Soviet Union disappears. China becomes capitalist. Communist parties are just, there is kind of name with, probably fewer than the libertarians. So they say, why do we pay all these taxes? We don't owe them anything to the states and so on. Let's move.